Maria, when I share, do I share? This is my first time using WebEx. So if I share, will it share my screen?
Yes, it will ask which one you want to share. You can share Safari and show the slides that way.
Cool.
If you want, I can do it if you're struggling with it.
Right. You let me know, and I'll be happy to monologue.
Okay. Did you get it to work?
Oh, you want me to try? Okay, let me see.
Yeah, go ahead and try.
How does it look?
Looks good. Click the presentation mode.
Can you see?
I can see it. Can everyone else see?
I don't think I can see if you are typing, so you're just gonna have to let me know when to go.
All right. Everyone else can see. I think we're good to go.
Okay, I'm gonna start.
Feel free to ask questions in the chat box, and Darrin and I will field questions as we go. Hope you enjoy the presentation. Take it away, Darrin.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for having me. If someone says something in the chat box, I don't think I'll be able to see it, so just stop me. Otherwise, I can just go forever. So, my goodness. Okay, so hi, everybody. My name is Darrin Maconi. I am going to present a little bit something on how to be 1% better every day. This is my background. So I've worked for 3 financial institutions. I've owned a couple companies, but a lot of what I'm going to be presenting today comes from my experience in the financial world. So I worked at PNC. I was lucky enough to be put in an area that was untapped. I worked my ass off and became the #1 salesperson for my position in the country for 1 quarter. And because of that, I was scouted by Merrill Lynch. So that was birth by fire, and I met, it was just an entirely different level. I was getting up at 6, getting in the office at 7, leaving at 9 to eat and work out. And then from there, I started my own company. And a few years later, I joined the wealth management division of JP Morgan Chase. So the company that I mentioned, I want to show you guys a video. I sold cereal to raise $40,000 to start my company. And if this sounds familiar, Airbnb did this. I only found out after I sold them that Airbnb did the same thing. So I'm just going to click it to bring up so you guys can see. This was a news article when it was Hillary versus Trump. Maconi, my partner. My name's Darrin Maconi. My partner is actually running to get us like one of our last boxes of cereal. His name is Dan Malafronte. So we're selling Trump Flakes and the Clinton Trump. Dan approached me, asked me to help him raise money for college. So I started just before this. I said I'll put up some money to help you to build the boxes. I did like this little high school, like back when I was in high school, I did like a project where we had to invent the cereal box. So I had this picture up on my fridge, and I was like, we can do that. We only made 500 of each. It's meant to be, not supposed to eat it. It's supposed to be like a collector's item. Like if you had Kennedy Frank or Ronald Reagan flakes like years ago. We don't sell them online. So you actually had to be here to get one. You're like, I was there when the first woman president was elected, or the first billionaire was elected president. So it's meant to be like, you'll be happy you had it. So that's a little piece that was done on us selling cereal for my first business. We raised $40,000, and it was fun. It was a blast. So I currently own the Achiever newsletter. It's an entrepreneurship and success-based daily publication, and we filtered down. So when I was at these financial institutions, we invested multi-millionaires retirement planning. So I got to speak with hundreds of millionaires. And the criteria that I filtered this down, and that's in the Achiever that I'm presenting for the CEO Forum, is their life lessons. It's just successful tips that they've learned through a lifetime of achieving, I guess you could say, broken down into little tidbits in the most relevant to other people. And the criteria by which I got this from was I just asked them what were they most successful in, or what do they attribute their success to. So I let them define success, and this is what they told me. So I Will Make You a Millionaire. Some of you might recognize this as a title of a book, but one of the key things was that they were all millionaires in some way or another, either cash or net worth. And what they told me is that it's usually a slow process. So people think they win the lottery or get rich quick, and sometimes that happens. But for 98% of people, it doesn't work that way. It's a slow growth over time. So it's not terribly sexy, but it will work if you follow this one principle. I know that sounds like a headline. It will make you a millionaire, and that is to invest $500 every month. So that's a number that's pretty reasonable to most people. So I didn't just come up with this. This shows an actual investment return over 28 years. So if you started at 30 and 58 before retirement, at the end of 28 years, if you just did that, you only put in $174,000, but you got 780, almost 790,000. And then if you notice, it goes up by tens of thousands at the end, since you have more income, I'm sorry, more of an egg to build compound interest. Even more years would yield you $1 million. So I wanted you guys to know that if you're looking for $1 million, it sounds silly sometimes to say, oh, I want $1 million, but it's very possible. It's very reasonable. So that's, I can get more into detail if there's questions, but investing $500 every month in the S&P will just over time make you a millionaire. So how to win, the game of money. So there's a couple ways on how to win in some areas of your life, and one of the most important is the game of money. And it is really a game. If you think about it as a game, it becomes fun instead of a burden. So these are 3 principles that almost everyone that I spoke to over a decade had. Let me see if I can get rid of this thing. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I just minimized it. So over a decade of speaking to millionaires, these were the principles that they kind of extolled to people who wanted to learn. Pay yourself first. So taxes are your number one expense. And the wealthiest people that I've ever met paid themselves first before they paid bills, before they paid expenses, before they went out to the movies. They always acted as if paying themselves first was tax. Even if it was $100, even if it was $50 in your account, they put that aside first, and they treated that as money, as taxes, right? Your Uncle Sam takes his share, take your own share, instead of paying yourself last after bills, right? The second one, if I'm going fast, someone just speak up and Maria will stop me. Separate funds into buckets. I don't care if you do it in a sock drawer, if you have different bank accounts, which is what I have, or different shoe boxes. Separate your fund into buckets. If you have all of your money in one account, you kind of lose it. It gives you a false sense of security. So if you had $10,000 in your account, but the next month you have a $2,000 mortgage, you have another $1,000 car insurance and home insurance, and then another $85 cell phone bill, and then utilities that are going to be $5,000. Really, you don't have $10,000. Another $5,000 is coming out. So if you separate these things into buckets, it will delineate what money is going out and how much money you really have. And you might have $500 that month for things you want to do, but it gives you a truer sense of the money you have. And the other tidbit on the game of money is these 3 principles. Really, it can be customized to your preference, but this will help you become wealthy. Increase your income. That might mean you get a raise or a second job, or just selling something on the side. A lot of the Achievers readers and a lot of CEO prospective C-suites here and people that would be in the CEO forum would find a way to increase their income, whether that's even birthday money and Christmas money. Just increase your level of income. It doesn't have to be too drastic. Reduce your tax burden. And what I mean by this is you can donate, you can give away, but taxes are your biggest expense. So there's tidbits and tricks, especially with the CPA. I know it's not very sexy, but it is important. And lastly, as I said, invest for the future. It could just be $500, even if it's $50. Just invest for your future. And the point of this is, and the most important part of this game of money, how to win, is you're working your ass off for your money. Whether you're going to a job, you got your own business, whatever you're doing, you're working for your money. If you put that into an account, a savings account, it will stay that amount of money. $1,000 will stay $1,000. If you invest it, other people are working to make your money grow. Moving forward, the game of life. So this is a big one, but life is it's got a very game-like quality to it. So it was the people that I interviewed, they defined their success in life through very different lenses. Some were family men, some didn't have any family but had fantastic businesses. Some, were average by most people's standards, but they built a good product that people love. It was a loyal fan base. So I asked them what made them successful, and what it boiled down to was they put themselves in a position to win. So you want to be proactive. You want to make your own luck. And the example that I give here is, did you win because you were lucky and you had a stroke of luck, or were you smart? And honestly, it's not one or the other. You can't just be entirely smart and get ahead in life. And you can't just rely on luck. You have to be smart enough to put yourself in a position to be lucky. So an example I'll give is, just say you find a foreclosed home or an investment property that is a real steal. Let's say it's a $1 million property that you can get for $100,000. If you don't have that $100,000, you can't take advantage of this lucky break you got, or maybe it's you found something, but you have to put yourself in a position to maximize your luck. I hope that makes sense. The game of love. This, every single person that I had a chance to speak to over my financial career, in different ways, but they all attributed this. This is the one commonality that they brought to the table, and that was 90% of your happiness in life will be determined by who you marry, or more broadly, who you surround yourself with. And not a single one of them really had one preference or one characteristic that was common among all their spouses, male or female, or wealthy or poor, active or inactive. It was because they had different people loved differently, but the commonality was that they had complementary preferences. So of course there will be compromise. Of course there will be sacrifice in love. But when it came down to it, they chose their partners because they had very complementary preferences. The example I'll give is, I love to drive, and my fiance hates to drive. So we make a very easy complement, because I love to drive everywhere and she doesn't like to drive at all. So of course that will change if she needs to drive somewhere she's minded, but for the most part, we don't fight about it. There's no issue there because we have complementary preferences. Now that could be in business, right? One of you does the taxes, one of you is a high income earner. It could be in domestic responsibilities. One of you loves to do the dishes, one of you loves to do the laundry. It could be in simply entertainment, whether that's, you're into the same sports. But all of them, every single one of them said that they found compliments in their spouse. And it was much easier to give up things, to sacrifice things, to compromise on things, because they had complementary preferences. So either right now or when you're looking for a spouse, keep in mind there's someone who's going to complement your weaknesses and you can complement them. How to win the game of family. This one, families are so diverse. I tried to find the commonality in what people were telling me was the secret to having a good family life. And how I defined it was really the obligation to yourself versus your family, the needs of yourself versus your family. And that could be, if you're really career driven and you want to work 90 hours a week, what are you prepared to give up, and what is important to you when it comes to a family? And that doesn't have to be your immediate family. That could be the family you want to grow to be, or your friends, or relationships you want to have. So simply, most people that I spoke to just told me it was important to know what you were and what you were not going to give up. And not to make this about myself, but I incorporate this in my life, where my fiance and I, who have been together for 3 years, we have designated time. And it doesn't mean that's the only time we're together, but from Saturday afternoon to Sunday afternoon is our time, where nothing else, no work, nobody else interferes with that time. And that's really helped to provide a foundation for us, where we know, like, if we don't see each other much during the week, or we don't talk much during the week, this is time where we know is solely for us. In addition to that, every other weekend, we go to different, her parents' house versus my parents' house. So once a month, we'll go to see them. And that's just important to us. Now, it may not be important to you, but recognizing what is important and what your priorities are when it comes to your family, either family you have now, or your nuclear family, your immediate family, or extended family, helps you not to put a burden on yourself in those relationships. The game of friends. This was important, and a lot of millionaires and those that I interviewed had hard lessons of the game of friends. And we might not choose who we love, but we certainly can choose our friends. So what are true friends? And this, not that you need to define your friends or categorize them, but you can find yourself having not true friends or friends that might take advantage of your friendship. And those might be fine, but to be aware of your true friends, what defines a true friends, and the people that I interviewed also extended this to business partners. So the commonality that they found, or how they described their truest friends, were people that genuinely and selflessly wanted your success. So if you had two dentists competing that were friends, and one of them, bought a practice or became exceptionally wealthy or much more successful than the other, the true friends, the people that cared most deeply about their friends, had a kind of a genuine desire for their friends to succeed, not a selfish, oh, I wish that was me, or subconsciously harboring resentment. Of course, you want success for yourself, but you can recognize people who are genuine to you because they are honestly and selflessly invested in your success. They want you to succeed. And since kind of adopting that principle myself, my friendship circle has kind of exponentially expanded, and I feel genuinely happy when my friends succeed. It's easy to have a conversation with them because I want to hear about their lives, which I'm sure many of you are already doing. The last couple of things are have goals. I don't want to get too much into detail here, but it's so crucial to have goals. And you might not have specific goals, but without goals, you're just floating around. Dale Carnegie has an excellent line where he says, every ship that's ever left the harbor knows where it's going. You might not know the exact route you're going to go. You might not know the exact destination, but you have a general direction of where the ship is going. Otherwise, you're just floating around in the harbor. So you might not know exactly, okay, we want to go on a vacation. That's a goal. That's completely legitimate. You might not know if you want to go to Europe or the Bahamas or another country or what you even want to do there. But the success is the gradual realization, the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal, which I'm sure you guys have heard that before. So simply writing them down, there's a direct correlation between people who write down their goals and people who don't, who just think of them, and the realization of their goals. So it's crucial, even though it's once a year, to write down some goals so you can at least judge and the criteria by which you achieve your goals. Mentors. This was especially important for me. Every person I spoke to had a mentor in some form or another. We have intentional mentors, people that we seek out, and we have unintentional mentors like parents or people we surround ourselves with that we learn from. And why mentors are crucial in life are because they have experience and skills that you don't. If it's someone older or someone is super experienced, they've spent a lifetime acquiring knowledge and filtering out the best part. This is how I found this information out for myself, and it's been crucial to my success. You can leverage the experience and the skill sets of others for things that you lack. So when we talked about complementary skills or preferences in spouses, here's a good thing for mentors, right? And what's funny is you'll find people who have spent a lifetime accruing this knowledge are very ready and willing to share it, to give it out. I certainly was when Maria asked me to speak today, because you want to see other people succeed. So don't be afraid to ask for mentors. And you can have bad mentors, you can have good mentors, but it's okay to ask them, hey, you might have long-term mentors or short-term mentors. I have a mentor that I've had for a decade now that really helped me establish my business. And I've had mentors that last a week, maybe in a new job or with some specific project I had going on, but it's crucial to leverage other people's experience and skill sets. I really appreciate this, guys. I might have gone a little fast. I can go into more detail, but I'd like you guys to, if you haven't already, join the newsletter, the Achiever newsletter, so you get daily 1% better tips, especially in collaboration with the CEO Forum. Just we take the most important concepts and we delineate them down into a 10 to 12-minute read every morning that you can use to do 1% better. And this, Maria, if you can put that in the chat, I will. Oh, I clicked it. I'll take this as well. Which if you guys want to put your name in here, I'll put it in the chat. And then, of course, supporting the CEO forum. I think that's it. I'm ready for questions, or if you guys don't, I appreciate you for listening to me. Thank you so much.
We do have a question. Thank you so much, Darrin. This is Maria again. I am the president and founder of CEO Forum. I did not introduce myself at the beginning. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
But we do have some questions already coming in. One question is, any advice for finding a financial planner, or do you think one can teach themselves and reach their financial goals on their own?
That is a phenomenal question. Who asked that?
That was our new member, Salome.
Salome, is that it? Salome? Excellent question, man. That was
She's also the president of the Black and Hispanic MBA Association.
Great question, Salome. Is it Salome? I'm sure you'll correct me.
Let me unmute her. Let me unmute her.
Okay. And then I can answer. Salome, just jump in if you want to. So for finding a financial planner, most people will acquire them by asking trusted friends or relatives who they use. And everyone asks for a referral, but ask for an introduction and don't feel obligated. I would actually interview several, even if you kind of know, like just you had a cousin that was like, okay, you're pretty confident you're going to go with them. Interview several, just like you want them to apply for the position almost. If you don't know anybody, if you don't have anything like that, I would find a reputable institution. You don't want to, like, if you look at Bernie Madoff, that was some guy who issued his own statements. He had his own. It's okay to have your own company, but you want not just one person. You want a team of people and power behind it, whether it's a big name or someone who's in business for a long time. And I also, the second part of your question, it's just a wonderful question. You can absolutely teach yourself how to reach your own financial goals, and you should. And as your financial picture grows, you'll become more experienced. You don't need to be an expert to be a millionaire. Just investing $500 a month will make you that over time. But I totally recommend putting out some goals, a budget, and I can talk now later about it, or I can talk later just with you on how to kind of form that together. But a little bit of time every week, even if it's 20 minutes, the Achiever puts out a section called Money, just some little bit of information that can help you. But I would do both. I would learn yourself so you can become aware of knowledge and become more versed in the financial picture. And then I would also prospect for financial plans. And you can find so much free and excellent information online. There's even a Google search. I do that myself just to stay current. Did that answer your question, Salome, or do you need me to elaborate? How can I help?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. That's cool.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, those answer my questions. I've been thinking about reaching out to friends. Another friend did that to me, and I was able to recommend one of my friend's husbands who is a financial planner at JP Morgan. I was just wondering if there's any institutions that you recommend that they have a great reputation. I'm currently, as for resources, I would also love to know where you go to read your news. Like right now, I follow on Reddit, our Fire and Our Personal Finance.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I would love to know if there are any other places that you think are have good, really great information.
Yes, there's so much out there.
Maybe it's for another newsletter.
Yeah, I was thinking that I will actually, I'm gonna write down something because I'll put something in there, Money, on where to. So check if you're subscribed. Check next week because I'll have my team compile some good sources of financial literature just to put out there so you can whether it's money.com or Forbes. And then if you find, actually, by introduction, I will give you someone that I like right now. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I cannot talk and text at the same time. I could drive a car, I could eat, dip nuggets in the sauce, drive with my knee, but I can't text and talk at the same time.
Yeah, that's difficult. Well, we do have another question coming in from Sam in the meantime, while you type. Sam wanted to ask, do you have any advice for building your network or finding mentors? And I will unmute Sam here in a second.
Hey, Sam.
So, let's see.
Ray, do you want me to wait for Sam?
Yeah.
Hey, Darrin. Okay, now I can talk. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Sam.
How's it going?
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday, exactly. Cold Friday.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, actually, it's something I've been focusing on a lot in the last year or so, and I've been doing a lot of different things, like reaching out to people randomly on LinkedIn, introducing myself. I do this program called Lunch Club that makes one introduction a week for you, for like random people, just for professional networking. But I was just wondering if you had any other kinds of approaches or tips for continuing to build your professional network, and which I think, in my opinion, is kind of like it's work that's never done. You want to do for your whole life.
That's exactly right, and I think what you're doing, Sam, is perfect. I was going to say a lot of people ask for referrals. I never did that. I would always ask for an introduction, because if someone's going to introduce you, they're going to put their name behind it, so they're very likely to give you a good introduction to someone that they trust, because they've got their name behind it. So I think what you're doing is perfect right now. I can tell you how I found my greatest mentor and what other people have told me has worked for them. So at JP Morgan, I sold a lot of debt instruments, like financial home equity lines of credit. And on the phone, I got someone that was just phenomenal. She was always happy. She was so diligent. And I just asked her, I said, hey, can I use you from now on? And she said, yes. So over the course of several months, we did a lot of business together, because we kind of got a synergy going. So I was thinking about leaving JP Morgan and I started my own financial firm. And I wanted to meet this girl in person to make sure the synergy was good. So I flew out to LA and we met for a couple days. And during one day, she brought a very old friend of hers, and we just shot the shit. He came up in a Ferrari. I just asked him what he did, and he told me how he was responsible. He turned a brewery from failing to selling it to Anheuser-Busch for $100 million. So I was like, okay, this is a guy I need to talk to. I wasn't planning on having him be a mentor. I just wanted to hear his story. And then he told me his story. I was like, wow. And I recognized that he, from what I had been told, I was lucky in the sense that I met this guy, but I was smart enough to recognize that he had a lot to offer. So I just asked him. I said, hey, do you mind if I reach out to you once in a while with some questions? He's like, absolutely. So I called him a couple times, and we just built a relationship over where he would always take my calls. And I always protected his time, Sam. If it was simply like a 9 out of 10 difficulty for me to do, I wouldn't call him. Like if it was 9 out of 10, but for him it would be a 2 out of 10, I wouldn't call him, because I wouldn't want to waste his time. Only on things that I could not progress to, whether it was some kind of question or advice, that's when I procked him, and he respected that and always picked up my calls. So I still talk to him to this day. He's responsible for his business. He gave me $500,000 of legal work that he did for his business that he let me use for mine. So I would say be open. And I ask all the time. I'm not, I don't care. I'm shameless when it comes to asking for assistance. Not even assistance, but just like, hey, listen, do you mind if I ask you questions? Do you mind if you can tell me about that? And some person like Sam, I'm sure you actually have some things you can teach me. And in a situational capacity, you could probably be my mentor or something like that. So I think you're doing a fucking fantastic job already with the introductions. And as far as mentorship, and the last thing I'll say on this, because I know I'm talking a lot, is my circle exploded. I used to host networking events just to introduce people. I would put someone down, like one of my clients that I thought would be relatable. And I would try to keep it under 50, but sometimes it was 25 to 50, just to listen to him, just for him to talk. And there was no schedule. I said, hey, go ahead and talk to these people. And that gave them the freedom to talk about what they wanted. And what's funny, Sam, is my network exploded when I stopped kind of asking for introductions and started giving introductions. So it's like, Sam, who can I introduce you to? You're like, oh, I could really meet this person, and I would introduce that person. Because people knew me as the center, as an influencer, as the center of networks. So instead of me asking, people would ask me, and then I would just, I became known as kind of like an influencer and someone who knew people, and they would introduce me to people that way. So, like I said, I think you're doing a fantastic job. That's how I've met mentors, and that's how I would recommend getting mentors, and especially increasing your network. That's super powerful. Did that answer your question?
Totally. Yeah. No, that's great advice. And it kind of reminds me of something, if you haven't read it or anybody else on the call, there's a really good book called Never Eat Alone that I read that was about networking.
Great book.
Just kind of, yeah, right.
Meet people on the first class section of the plane.
Exactly. But thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sam. Anybody else have any questions for Darrin while we have him as a captive here?
If there are no other questions, if you guys want to put in the chat or tell me separately, let me know what I can do to help, who I can introduce you to. If you guys want to meet someone, or whether that's someone in your business or someone you're looking the next move you're going to make or the next move you're going to make, is there any way that I can help you in your personal and professional lives to kind of give you that extra boost or introduce you to someone that you think would help?
I have my email in the chat.
I'm gonna put my cell in, so you guys just I get 110 cold calls a day. So can you guys, if there's anything I can do to help, just text me. Just put your first and last name so I know it's you. And we can schedule a call. We can do text, whatever I can do to help you kind of get to the next level. Let me know.
And also, if you want to join our email list for CEO Forum, you can join our club. We have a WhatsApp. I'm putting the email list registration link in the chat right now. I'm also going to put in the WhatsApp link so you can join our WhatsApp talk group. We also have a Slack starting up. And our goal is to have monthly meetings and also to have a monthly speaker series of different speakers, different topics, just basically things that can improve your life that are either related to becoming entrepreneurial or learning about entrepreneurship in general, whether it's through venture capital or funding or networking, mentorship. We have a lot of exciting things happening. So if you would want to be part of our club or just join in, please feel free to sign up. And I'm here for any questions as well if you have any questions about the club. Otherwise, thank you for joining us, and
Maria,
have a great weekend. Yes.
I think I saw one by Diane. If we can get to another one, if that's okay.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah,
Diane.
this is actually a great question.
Hi, Diane. Let me unmute you.
Hi, Darrin. Can you guys
Hi,
hear
Diane.
me?
How are you?
Thank you for hosting this, Maria. Long time no see.
I know, my old partner in crime. Thanks for joining us. What's your question?
So what do you do, or how do you change your mindset if you lose your motivation or your drive to achieve your targets, or you lose that creative juice?
That is a great question, Diane. I have struggled with that before, especially last year when you're home and you just kind of, it's very difficult, especially for, at least it was for me, to kind of work from home. So great question. I've struggled with that. What I can tell you, other people have told me works, and what's worked for me. Well, I'll tell you what has worked for me, and what other people have worked for them. And it's not a surefire, like, I wish I could say, if you do X, then expect Y to happen. But it's more like, you're gonna have to have 7 different things that might be your mood for the day. But I put myself in a position. I am absolutely a creative. I'm in the process of writing a book, so that process kind of can't be rushed. And how I kind of get in the zone is I put myself in an environment that facilitates that. My fiance is the exact opposite. She can do 20 minutes of work out, 20 minutes of work, cook. I could never do that. In order for me to work at home, I needed costumes. So I would actually dress up in a suit. I'm actually in a tie right now because it put me, I knew that worked for me. And it's a difficult question to answer specifically for you, Diane, but I would say what other people told me is to find the environment that gives you the greatest likelihood of success. So if you're doing something creative and you know that, okay, the last 10 times you did something creative, you were at Starbucks with your headphones on, do that. If it's like, okay, you were by a fire and no one was around, sitting in a rocking chair, do that. If you're like me, I need to get in the suit and kind of zone out of everything else. That works. But I'm with you. This was a big struggle for me because, I would go through several days like, oh, I don't feel like doing anything. It's like motion creates emotion. So that will certainly increase your chance of becoming more creative. If you have ever written anything, one of the things they tell authors, Diane, is to avoid writer's block or trying to get out of it, especially when it talks about motivation and creativity, is to just start, right? Just start writing, and it'll be shit at first, but then you'll kind of get in the groove. Does that help, Diane? That's what's worked for me.
It is very true. And Maria and I have worked in a lot of events for the Black and Hispanic MBA Association. And for me, when all of those ideas come, right, it's because I'm at RBS, or I am like a Tim Hortons or something. Like I need to be outside.
Yeah, exactly.
But because of the pandemic, I am just cooped up in my room, and it's like I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. It's the worst.
Yeah, I think it's been difficult for a lot of people to tap into that creativity when you're not kind of around other people or in groups face to face. And I feel like even doing these types of events where you can kind of connect with other people and kind of get that spark flowing is good. Try to do the Zoom meetings when you can, or any other kind of social distance activity with people. And just getting outside of your comfort zone, or even just going for a hike or walking around a different neighborhood than your own, can sometimes just help you think in a new and different way, give you an idea. That's
absolutely.
What it
would be. Everybody.
I have one more question. So it's interesting that you were able to venture out and take some risks in different types of businesses or business ideas. So what is your process in finding the next big business, and how do you analyze the risk before you actually, put in your effort in that business idea?
This is a good group. These are great questions. Heavy hitters. That's a great question, Diane. I can tell you the process that works for me. And well, let me go back to the millionaire. A lot of millionaires had expertise in a particular area that they turned into a business. There's one chiropractor who just kind of expanded. He was a chiropractor, but he had a good business now. Another one had a real estate business. Another one was a family business. So these people kind of worked in a specific area, and they turned that into a business. For me, I have a ton of business ideas. There's so much that I want to do. that I either don't have the resources for, don't have the time or the partners. But how I got into the business that I had, I leveraged mentors, and I found partners that could compensate where I couldn't. So with the Achiever, I'm a people person. I love talking to people. I'm in front of people all the time, and I really like to give value to people. But I am not a gifted writer, and I'm not consistent. I might work for 12 hours one day, and the next day I might work for 2. So the work was there, but it kind of came sporadically. So I found a partner, both in my fiance and in another partner, that was consistent. They didn't like to deal with people. They didn't like to really be in the limelight, and I do. But they could write and they could research, and they could. I complimented them and they complimented me. So between that, we had a very functional business idea, and that's how we evaluated the business idea, and then how to make it monetary, is we gave ourselves goals. So our goal in the first month was X amount of readers, and in the second month it was this. In the 5th month it was this amount of revenue. We're going to explore this. So it was not concrete in the sense like we knew exactly that we were going to do X, Y, and Z, but we had analyzed, okay, with our strengths, we're going to go 6 months in and reassess. So if you have a business idea, I would say turn your passion into purpose, which sounds stupid, but it truly is, because the best business owners I knew, I'm trying to give you a very concrete answer. How do I find, I want to just reassess for a second, Diane. How do I find the next business idea, or how do I turn an idea into a business? Does that make sense?
You can answer both.
I kind of have a list of the business I want to start or be a part of, and I've written these down, and I know what I would need to do in order to start this business. So for the Achiever Circle, I knew I needed partners, and I had the funding to start it. Another business I want to own is maybe a golf course later in life, or a self-storage business. I don't have the capital even close to what is needed to start them. So I know, okay, I can't do that until whenever. But I put myself in a position where if something happens where I meet, so just say I want to do something with the Black and Latino community. I know, okay, Diane, you are the perfect, I met you, and you're a perfect partner to do something with. I can explore that. So I'm on the lookout for people who can be complements to my business. So if you have a business idea, I would say what needs to happen, what needs to be true in order for that to become a reality, whether that's you need capital, whether that's you need a partner, whether that's you need more time. And from there, you can say, okay, even like even a one pager over a day would be fine. Okay, I want to create a monthly magazine, right? Okay, I need $10,000, I need 4 writers, and I need another 10 hours of time. Then you can say, okay, how can I get those things? And if you find writers, you can be on the lookout for what you need. If you need time, okay, 10 hours, I can drop X, but I can't drop Y. And funding, okay, do I work harder and get more income myself? Do I find partners who are going to put their own money in? Do I find people who are going to give me money? So that's how I evaluate an idea. And to be honest, Diane, there's a bunch of ideas right now that I probably could do that I just don't have the time for. But if I meet someone, or if I keep my eye out and I happen to meet, like Maria is fantastic. She did this entire PowerPoint, so she compensated greatly for the skill set that I lacked. So I think you're already on the right track and finding what you need to do to make your business a reality. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you so much, Darrin. And
Oh,
again,
great question.
think of Maria.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Diane, for coming to this event. We have another question from Adriana.
Sure.
She was asking, in terms of investing, what are some good resources to look at for upcoming potential industry disruptors?
Oh, what a question.
I know. She's like, I always feel I'm late to the game. So I've unmuted her if she wants to elaborate.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Thank you, Darrin, and hello, everybody. Yes, I just want to, look at some good resources about upcoming industry disruptors, like where should we be putting our money? Because it's always like you're late to the game, and I try to keep up with IPOs, things like that. So what's the best place to look at for those resources?
That is a tough question to ask, but I'll try to answer.
Because if I bought Amazon and Netflix years ago, I would not, be here right now. Sorry to say, I'd be on somewhere.
You'd be in the meeting, but your computer would be on a yacht somewhere.
Yes, true.
I would say that is a tough question to ask, because when you boil it down, it's like, where can I find information on what's going to be the next big thing? And if you guys were following the market recently, GameStop and AMC, that no one could have predicted that. So I'm going to answer your question twofold. I would say if your goal is to become wealthy and financially secure, don't worry about. This isn't an answer your direct question, but it does give you kind of the idea of where you're going with that. Don't worry too much about what the market does. If you simply put your money in the S&P 500, you are picking the 500 best stocks in America, and therefore the world. So the market's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to left and right. But over time, the people who just continually put money in and just kind of let it go, almost always became millionaires. It's the people who were like, oh shit, the market went down, I got to take all my money out, and they just guaranteed themselves a loss. So to become wealthy, put it in the S&P 500, where the other companies, the 500 best, will work for you. If you're looking for information, what I do is I find out what interests me. So I have my regular portfolio that's for retirement that I kind of just don't fuck around with, and that's what I contribute to. But I also have a fund that I mess around with. Like I gamble around, I bet, it's play money, so I know if I lose it, I'm not screwed. But if I win big, great, it's cool. I did win big with AMC, but it depends on what your interests are. So if you love pharmaceuticals, I would say Robert Wood Johnson puts out a good publication on some stocks to put out. Forbes has an excellent. Money Magazine actually has excellent on what to look out for. If you're interested in emerging tech, I would look for whatever you're interested in, whatever segment or part of the market that you find appealing. Read publications that focus on those, and then put a little bit more money here and there. I wouldn't I hear a lot of horror stories where people are like, oh, I bought in at this and then I thought I hold. If you're trying to time the market, it is almost never successful. But if you're going to play around with it, and your question was where can I find information, Forbes, Money Magazine, and any specific publication that has to do with emerging markets. I know Warren Buffett puts out a lot of good stuff. Does that answer your question? The help?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. I look forward to our next one when you're, having this meeting from the Bahamas.
I hope so.
All right, we're wrapping up on time here. Does anyone have any other questions for Darrin before we break for the weekend, or at least the rest of the day, Friday? Feel free to add it to the chat or the Q&A box.
If not, great to meet you all, and just feel free to send me a text. Anybody I can introduce you to or anything I can help with, I'd love to. Thank you, Maria, for putting this together.
Thank you, Darrin, for joining us today and teaching us some really great advice on how to become 1% better every day. And we look forward to seeing your newsletter.
Thank you guys so much. God bless. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
And be sure to join us on CEO Forum and all the places I put in the chat box. Have a great weekend, everyone.